All right, what's up, everybody? It's Brian coming at you from house arrest. This week on house arrest, got some new lights. Cool. Got the ring light, and I got these lights. I have them on peach color, but they look pink, I think, in the video. But that's okay. I'm rolling with pink today. I like it because these big lights that I had, gone. And that in service of my minimalist efforts, my ongoing minimalism efforts, that's really helpful for me right now. I love it. All right, so I've decided to call this video, I don't know exactly what I'm going to type in yet, but I have decided it's going to be something like, if you want to accomplish anything in your life, you got to get this one thing down. It's kind of a gimmicky title, right? But I think I've discovered something that I'm trying out on myself. It's an experiment, okay? I'm not preaching here, I'm just sharing. As those of you who have been watching these or know me know, I've been on this sort of life journey over the last few years after having kind of lost everything I had in my life before, getting addicted to IV, heroin, and meth, running around on the streets, selling drugs, getting caught, getting sent to prison, now on house arrest. I've been on this self-improvement, goal-setting journey that I've been trying to follow through with, become consistent with. And as anybody who's attempted to better themselves or achieve something knows, progress isn't as consistent and steady as we would all hope it would be. It's a constant push and then fall back and reset and try again and begin again and try, make a goal, shoot for it, set some rules for yourself, go for it. Consistency maybe for a little while, motivation is there and you get somewhere, and then the motivation falls away and we don't have enough discipline to continue to follow through, and we're back to square one. That's kind of just the nature of the thing. So I'm trying to get to the root of what the problem is and how I can stop this from happening, how I can start to have more steady progress and more consistent, reliable progress. I realized that if I could reliably do this one thing, I could do anything, and so could anybody else. And so I'm going to try this thing, and I'm going to try to build this up, and maybe you want to try it with me if you're interested in this. This thing, as many important things are, is very simple, but not easy. But I'm trying to break it down in a way that makes it a lot easier. Okay, and the thing is this: make promises to yourself and keep them. That's it. Now, before you say duh and click off this video, hear me out real quick. I think the emphasis that we put on a resolve to do something that's positive for ourselves is on the thing itself that we're trying to do. And I think that's a mistake, at least at first. Much more importantly is to put the emphasis on the resolve to do it. The promise that you make to yourself, that's the thing that is more important. Again, at first. In the beginning, when you're just trying to get your shit together, it's more important for you to develop the capacity to keep a promise to yourself than it is for you to do the thing that you're promising yourself you want to do. Because if you could become proficient and reliable at never breaking a promise to yourself, if you could accomplish that skill alone, then you could do anything you want. If you could know for sure that if you make a promise to yourself, you're going to follow through, I mean, what could you not accomplish? If we could only all do that, right? So forget about all the stuff that you want to do in the future and your big future goals for now. Just focus on figuring out how to keep a promise with yourself. And this is what I'm doing now. I've started by simply resolving to never break a promise that I make to myself. But in doing that, it's made me really have to think about which promises I want to make to myself. And to get started, I'm starting really small for me. Everybody's small is going to look different, but I think the key is to start with something small. First, start by saying, if I make a promise to myself, I'm not going to break it. Full stop. And then at this point, it's really important to pick your very first promise to yourself wisely, because you really need to make sure that this first promise is something that you're going to keep. And you need to make it small enough that it's something that you're definitely going to keep. But on the other hand, you also don't want to make it so small that it's completely insignificant, right? This is why, as I've been thinking about this, I've decided that it's important to make a promise that isn't just a one-time thing, like tomorrow I'm going to do this and then it's over. I guess you could start with that if that works for you. Maybe if there's something that you've been procrastinating about for a long time and you just want to get it out of your head and get it done. It's just something simple that you can do in a day or in an hour and get it out of your life. Maybe that is a good one. But for me, it was like, I need to promise myself something that's going to be reoccurring. Like, this is something that I'm going to do or abstain from for a period of time. And that's the second criteria that I think is really important. If you're having a recurring one, you need to have a time frame on it. This is a huge mistake that I've experienced in the past, and I think maybe many others have as well that maybe are listening to this. When you're trying to set a goal for yourself, New Year's resolution syndrome, right? Where you set a New Year's resolution, I'm gonna do this all year long, right? It's a huge commitment, a year of doing this very dramatic thing usually. I'm gonna go to the gym every day or 3 days a week or whatever when I haven't been exercising at all ever. I'm just gonna full board go at it like that. You're gonna burn out. It's too much of a dramatic change. You know, it's so hard to get something like exercise, say, an exercise routine down. I mean, it's something that so few people actually are capable of doing anyway. You can't tackle something like that aggressively because it's hard. It's hard to get yourself out of your old habits and get into good new ones. It's really hard. It's astonishingly difficult. And it takes so much willpower and effort and focus. And I feel like if any of that resonates with you at all, this is a good way to start. So, again, pick something small, manageable, hopefully reoccurring, that has at least enough significance though that if you accomplished it, you would feel really good about yourself. But it has to be doable, and you have to put a time frame on it that's reasonable. You could start with 3 days maybe, or a week, okay? For mine, the promise that I started with, once I decided that I'm not gonna break promises that I make to myself, was this. For 30 days, I am only going to eat the food that I prepare myself at home. And that's it, nothing else. Now, this is a version of a commitment that I've made to myself in the past, but the mistake was this. I was like, I'm only gonna eat this exact food that I pre-decided on. But it was indefinite, right? And then there's all kinds of things that happen. There's, I guess we'll go out to eat this time. I'm gonna go, there's snacks at work, whatever it is. And eventually, with this infinite time frame in front of you, there's like this it's hard to face that, So this time I've refocused because I started eating junk again and stuff and just crappy things at work. I've refocused again this commitment, and I've made it just a 30-day thing. And that may sound like a pretty big commitment, but this is one that works for me because I've already been focused on my eating habits, and I already have most of this in place. I just have to, make the commitment. I'm already used to making mostly all my own meals. I'm just trying to cut out the extra stuff. So it's a little bit challenging. It has been, especially at first, but it's manageable for me. And it's something that if I accomplish this, then it will make me feel great by the end of these 30 days. Okay, so I made the commitment on the 16th. Today is the 21st of January, and it's going well so far. One thing that I've noticed about it that is really cool is that because I know that I made this promise to myself, and because I'm so serious about building this confidence in my own, trust with myself, is that even when I feel tempted, just habitually at work, say, to go for the candy or whatever, I realize that I'm just not going to do it because I made this promise to myself. And all of the mental battling of like, oh, should I, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm not going to do it. I have a moment where I'm just like, no way. And then I come back in 20 minutes and it's looking good again. And I have to make that choice constantly all day. I've stopped making that choice because I know that there's no way this is going to happen. So it's freed up a lot of mental bandwidth, actually, which is great. So if you can trust yourself like that, then you can just eliminate things from your mind that are just clogging you up. You know, all that malware of decisions like that you have to struggle with all day, every day. I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat at all. I know exactly what it's going to be. And if anybody's like, hey, do you want to get lunch or do you want to go out or whatever? I'm just like, absolutely not, because I'm doing this for 30 days, right? If I was doing it forever, that would seem a little crazy. Like, oh, what, you're never going to, have any food with anybody again? So 30 days, perfect. Hey, once I'm done with this 30 days, I'm going to reassess and maybe we'll go out and eat and I'll have some fun with food. But then I'm going to reassess and see where I'm at with it, see how it felt to do that, and then see what I want to do going forward. That's why the time frame is so important. That's just my example, and it would be really cool if anybody else is, finds this interesting and wants to just try it, like on a small little thing in their life. If you feel like you're struggle to keep promises with yourself, maybe try this with me and throw in the comments what you're doing and what your challenge is. I want to re-emphasize the thing to keep in mind though, especially in the beginning here. I'm suspecting that the important thing here isn't the thing that you're doing. Again, it's the promise that you're keeping to yourself. That is what we're trying to build. Keeping the promise is more important than whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, because we'll build up to that as we go along. If you had a friend that you could only trust as much as you trust yourself now, you wouldn't be friends with that person anymore. If you made plans with somebody and they kept being late or not showing up, it wouldn't take very long before you wouldn't trust that person at all anymore and you wouldn't want to associate with them. You would stop making plans with them. That's how it's become with ourselves. We are always telling ourselves that we are going to do these things and, I'm going to make this commitment and stuff in these moments of motivation, but then we lack the discipline to continue because we're just overshooting, we're being unrealistic, we're making it too big, we're wanting too much too fast. And not only do we not get the thing accomplished that we want to in the long term, the more corrosive thing is that we are breaking down trust with ourselves to the point where we trust ourselves less than we can trust, any of our friends. That's a shitty place to work from when you're trying to get somewhere in your life. Building this trust, I suspect, is a way to really build confidence as well. Confidence in yourself. So I'm going to try this for a little while. Hopefully this will inspire someone else to do it too, and we can work together to keep each other motivated. And I'm going to keep the focus on the keeping the promise. I have a suspicion that it's going to be tremendously beneficial. Depending on what your thing is, what your promise is, this could be a real slow burn. Like with mine, I'm going to discover over the next 30 days what happens with this and the changes I see. But that's okay, because I'm interested in getting at the root of these problems because I'm interested in long-term success, long-term change. It doesn't matter if I can go to the gym for 10 days in a row at all. That doesn't matter at all in the long run. What matters is consistency, and can I make commitments, and can I develop the power of discipline that it will be useful to me over long periods of time for years to come. So, yes, that's all I have to say today. The song of the week is called To the End, and it's by the band Blur. I've been listening to Blur lately a lot, kind of getting their discography into my head. I've always liked their singles, and certain songs they had have always gotten stuck in my head, but I've never really listened much to the rest of their stuff, like listen to albums at a time. And I've gotten through Park Life and their self-titled album. Both I've loved so far. I've listened to half of Think Tank, which I really like as well. So I'm getting into their sound, and this is one of the songs on Park Life that just stuck out to me. So check it out if you're interested. I'll see everybody next week. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. There's no excuse. Just try it out. All right, bye.